This is the MFS Wellness Podcast. I am Mike Sinopoli. On today's episode, I'm going to another aspect of what I consider wellness, since it's so diverse, so vast. We're going to talk about mindset coaching. I didn't really know much about this at all. And when I don't know about a subject, I can't sit up here and just ramble away about it. It's going to be inauthentic. So I brought on somebody who does know all about this, and she is a mindset coach herself, certified. She's Keyera Patrick. Keyera, how are you?
Doing great. Thanks for having me on today.
Oh, it's a pleasure as always here. To have you on here, I want to talk about mindset coaching and what it actually is because I didn't really know much about it, who you help, what you do. So, why don't you just get us started off with that? Like your background on it, when you started, what you do, and your passion around it.
Yeah, so back in 2019, I came across life coaching and a lot of deep trauma and childhood recovery from abuse and things like that. And I was listening to it quite heavily, and I started to notice that my own life was starting to change. And because of that, I realized that I need to find out more about this world. So I went down the rabbit hole of life coaching, and I found Brooke Castillo and Stacey Bayman and all these amazing coaches. And I realized that there was a whole nother world that was happening. And so I decided I wanted to get on board with that. I went and got certified for life coaching. I was going to work with women who struggle with anxiety and depression that want to make changes in their lives, that are high functioning, but find themselves just stalling out over and over and over again. And through that, I found that I really enjoy working with female entrepreneurs who work from home, whether that be a graphic designer, a wedding planner, a interior decorator, a VA, another coach, anything of that sort. I've found that those are the people that I'm most drawn to, because it can be really hard when you have expectations and thought patterns that support the way things have been going. And then when you introduce in a business, it can be hard to get those things going. So that's where I landed, and I thoroughly enjoy it.
Well, that's great. So essentially, you're doing a lot of business coaching for women who have maybe been trying to fit that into their lives, right? Is that basically where it is? But they've been told different things, or they've been in too many aspects of life. They're doing too many things, wearing too many hats, and you try to like kind of piece that together, get them, keep them on track, basically, right?
Yes, and we do a lot of deep diving into any negative thought patterns that they have around why they can't do it, what they've been told that they can't do, expectations around the house and what's available to them. We really talk about it doesn't need to be this or that. It can be it can be both. You can still get done what you need to around the house and still work on your business. But that comes from some really deep rooted ideologies, and we have to overcome those sometimes because women are sometimes pushed down from creating it what it is that they want, and they might do it to themselves or other people might do it to them. So I come in there and I help them rewire their brain to believe what it is that they want to believe about themselves and what's possible.
Okay. And what type of ideologies do you believe you have heard the most that is preventing women from being successful in business? What are the ideologies that you see?
So, a lot of times it can be your place in the household if you have children, right? For myself, I'm a single mom of three kids, and the expectation is that I do this, this, and this throughout the day, that we have these routines, that we go to the birthday parties, that we get it all done. And what can happen is we forget that we can ask for help. Asking for help is one of the hardest things I find women uh, like struggling to do, is being willing to outsource what it is that needs to be done and realizing that it's okay to ask for help.
I believe that. And I've always said that asking for help is actually a strength that's actually perceived as a weakness. But I think it takes a lot of strength to ask for help, whether you're a man or a woman, in my opinion. And as a man, I mean, sometimes we even get, that stigma of, hey, you're a dude, you got to figure it out yourself. You can't ask for help. That's not manly and all that kind of stuff. We're all kind of pinned in these little roles, and I don't think the world is the same as it was now. So, like for instance, women becoming active in the workforce, having careers, and starting businesses. I think it's great, but there's some people who will, just stick to their traditions, right? And that's what hinders them. Who do you think are the main, I don't say culprits, but that's the word that came to my head. But who are the culprits that are pushing these ideologies on these women that's thwarting them from becoming successful in their business and almost making them feel like they shouldn't do it? It's adding to their imposter syndrome. It's hurting their confidence, I'm sure, right?
Yeah, for sure. So I see that throughout um, all of our life. We're being told how we should act, how we should show up. And one thing that I've noticed happening is a lot of women will go to other women for advice. And they want to talk with that person and try to get some empathy for why it's not working, right? My business isn't working because of this, and I want this person to get in the river of misery with me. I want them to get in this boat with me and hold my hand and tell me, right, yeah, you definitely, that's way too hard for you, right? But
Mm-hmm.
that's not moving you towards the goal that you want to have. I coach a girls volleyball team, and I have told them for our tournament on Saturday, do not talk to the other teams. Like if somebody is saying, oh, that next team is really hard, do not listen to them about that. You don't
Mm-hmm.
know what it's going to be like. You've got to watch what people are saying to you. And you've got to watch who you're letting in your corner when you're building something like that. It's like having a baby and people coming over and telling you, this is how you should raise your baby, and this is how it needs to be done, and this is the schedule that you need to be on, and XYZ. And you shouldn't do this right now because you need to be focused on um, whatever it is. And people are going to always try to make themselves feel comfortable by telling you what they don't think that they could do, if that makes sense.
That does make sense. And it's fear, right? Like we said, it's fear based because when someone's afraid of something, if they see somebody else willing to go ahead and take the leap, that they feel like they're getting left on an island in a sense because they want that person, like you said, that in that boat of misery, they want you to stay on that boat with them because they get more when people start leaving the boat and doing other things, they start to get even more uncomfortable alone on that boat. The misery loves company is one of the most legit sayings ever. And that's why maybe you should go to somebody that's a coach that's going to have your back. Unbiased friends are great. And then we have to know who has their own agenda in mind, and sometimes it's not even like intentional. They're just programmed to deflect and defend their ego because they're not doing something. It's kind of a little bit of a victim mentality. I'd say that they will hold you back because they're scared, and seeing you go and succeed, you got to think some of these they don't have your back, and they might be rooting for you to fail. You know?
Yeah. They also have perceived thoughts about you of who you are. And if it's a parent or a friend, sometimes they're going to tell you, well, that didn't work for you over there. So what makes you think that this is going to work?
Mm-hmm.
And you have to be really careful about who it is that you're letting in your circle when it comes down to that, because they've only seen you as this person.
Mm-hmm.
And you're saying, you want to know something? Now I'm becoming this person. For instance, I've really been taking the dating game seriously and really diving into dating. And I had somebody say, well, maybe you should just give it a break. Like, it's just not working. Well, I can choose whether I want to give it a break or not. Because
Mm-hmm.
when I wasn't dating, I was being told I should date. You should go find somebody. And now that I am dating, it's, well, maybe you should just take a break. People will always have opinions. One of my coaches says opinions are like assholes. We all have one. And it definitely is. That is what I see happening across the board is we see somebody doing something that makes us uncomfortable. And then we try to go in and like dim their light
Mm-hmm.
unintentionally, like you're saying. And that can go across the board for eating, like what you talk about. Oh man, we're having girls' night. Well, what's that look like for girls' night? What are we going to
Mm-hmm.
have there? Well, I want to have chips and queso and margaritas. Okay, well, I'm going to bring a veggie tray. Okay. But it's, it's just what people feel most comfortable with.
Right.
And if somebody is getting out of their comfort zone to do something, it can be hard for the other person to watch and they can sabotage them with their
Mhm.
mouths.
Oh, they do it all the time. It's unfortunate, and a lot of times it's just reaction. It's like this reactive. It's just protecting their ego is what they're doing. If they don't stop and pause and think, they will sit there and be programmed to protect their ego. So, like you said, with the diet thing, because I can talk about that, that's happened to me before. I worked in an office and brought my own food and didn't partake in the lunch. I sat there with everybody, but I ate my own food and I got criticized and judged and everything. And people are all wearing different lenses and they're going to put on whatever lens is going to benefit them the most in that instance. So
Hmm.
that's where it is beneficial to go to an unbiased party, whether that's a mindset coach, a nutrition coach, a trainer, a therapist, something like that. You know, yeah, you don't know those people, but they're paid and to be unbiased for you, where your friends and family are going to be primarily going reacting through conditioning, fear, and just their lens of what they think is best for you. Everyone has an idea, a different idea of you. Every single person you know has a different idea of you, and it views you through a different lens. And we have this picture of everyone we know, and we have a place for all of them. And if you start to wiggle away from the place that that person has you in, they get uncomfortable because their vision is now becoming blurred because you're moving around a little bit and they want to reel you in and say, no, you're supposed to be there. I think that's what people do, right?
Oh, for sure. We take them out of their comfort zones. I saw that at my church when I started my business. It can trigger people when they see you going out and doing a category such as life coaching. That's not the norm, right? It's not counseling. It's not therapy. You didn't get a college degree for it. And so people can start having their own opinions about it and what you should be doing and how you should be spending your time and what you should be getting done around the house. And well, maybe you should use that extra time to do XYZ. Whereas maybe back in the 1970s, you didn't have your wash machine, you didn't have your dryer, you didn't have all these things to help you get things done, or maybe the financial means to buy that. But
Mm-hmm.
now we have all of these things. We have ChatGPT, we have AI, we have all of these wonderful tools to help us get things done. Hiring a house cleaner, there's nothing wrong with that. Hiring somebody to make your food for you, right? Taking your laundry someplace to get it done. There is nothing less feminine about doing those things, hiring out help. And a lot
Mm-hmm.
of times people want to put what happened or where they've had to stay on you and be like, well, you should get to do that because I didn't get to do that. And you have to watch it because it so like subconsciously comes through that you might not even catch on that that's happening to you when you're having a conversation with somebody.
Right,
So
right.
that's why it's important to meet with a mindset coach to really make sure that you are believing what it is that you want to believe about yourself and what's possible. And, that leads us into how you feel next. How are you going to feel when you fail? Because that's how success is built. A lot of people will get in there and they'll try to keep you from feeling that way or showing up that way, right? They
Mm-hmm.
want to make sure that you're stable. And entrepreneurship, which is where I work at mainly, that's not a very stable place all the time. And so, really working with people about intentionally setting up how they're going to feel when they fail. How are you going to show up when you fail?
I like that.
What are you going to do? That is where we work in the sessions because it's unavoidable. And instead of taking your failures and calling your friend up or telling somebody at church or wherever, instead of telling them that, you come and get on a call with me and we talk about what it is that we truly want to create for you next week. All right. This week went this way. We looked at what worked and what didn't work and what we're going to do differently next time. And that, next week as we go in, what are you going to do? Because it's bound to happen. And so just really being careful about your thoughts when you're creating a new identity is very important.
I
Sort of
like
like
that.
motherhood.
Yeah. Okay. That sounds cool. Yeah. And I think I like what you said there because you talked about failures and no matter what you're doing, whether it's a business venture, trying out something, a new hobby, or doing a new fitness plan, diet, whatever it is, you're probably going to fail at some point and you will. And I think you're setting realistic expectations for people. And we have this crazy society now that seems to be beyond obsessive with perfection. And we have people out there that'll just willing to tear down anybody that makes the slightest little mistake. I see it all the time out there where someone will find something. Something can happen 99.999% of the time, and someone will find that 0.0001%, and they will use that and try to define the other 99 and then some with that piece. It's just like let people not it's things can be true and untrue at the same time. You just have to see what it's like. So you're setting realistic expectations, which is preparing for what you call failure. And what you need to do, I'd say, is like when you do fail, because it's going to happen, when you have a failure, you have to have your eyes open so that you can learn from that failure, right? Isn't that what you need to do with failure?
Well, and being resilient. A lot of people do not teach resilience because of, once again, back to the comfort zone thing. They're like, oh, that didn't work last time, so just let's do something else. And I've really learned about resilience is that it is like when you are resilient, you are able to quickly come back emotionally. You are quickly able to jump back in. You are quickly able to get back up. That is what resiliency means to me. My nervous system, I can calm my nervous system down, regulate myself, ground myself quickly,
Mm-hmm.
so that way I can stand back up and go again. And lots of people do not have those examples in their lives in order to even think to do that.
Right.
Some
Right.
people will tell you, oh, my father did this, or oh, my mother did this. And that is why they are able to do things so easily, so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're in entrepreneurship, you don't always have that example in your life, because most parents or most grandparents are working class people.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have that example of resiliency all the time in the entrepreneurship world. You have the example of stability.
Correct.
You see
Correct.
the difference there?
Mm-hmm. And
And so,
the more you fail, though, right? The more resilient you become. So, like failure, every time you fail, yes, it can feel like a beat down. Yes, you can get low about it, and it will happen. But every time you do, and you come back from it, that builds the resiliency, right?
mhm, yeah, if you let it,
Mm-hmm.
or
Or it kills you.
sometimes we
Mm-hmm.
let it beat us down and we keep coming from the same place over and over and over again. And when we do that, our clients, our audience, anybody can feel that energy. They
Mm-hmm.
can feel it 100%. They can feel it when it's off, and it's dimming your own light without even realizing it when you do not face what's happening that's not going right.
Right. Exactly. That sounds
So
good.
resiliency is very important in um in creating a stronger self concept of who you are. So one time I have a cleaning business as well that I've had for 9 years now, and 5 years ago, 6 years ago, a lady said to me something that's always really stuck with me. I ran over some stuff that had fallen off the back of the truck on the interstate, off of the truck in front of me, and it immediately like cut my tire, and I had to coast off, of course, and I had to miss work. I didn't get paid because I only get paid when I'm there, and on top of it, I had to replace a tire now, and it was really expensive, and it was not at a great point in my life. And my one of my clients said, yeah, that's why I have a strong saving account here. You have to have a strong savings when you are an entrepreneur, because she was a nail tech. She really understood what that looked like when you couldn't work, when you had to miss work and you didn't get paid. And that's what we do for your mindset. We create a strong savings account of intentional thoughts for you to put on when things get hard,
I like that.
right?
I like relating things to money. It makes me smile. I like that.
Yeah.
That's a good analogy. That's really good.
But you actively have to be saving. You actively have to be intentional about these things,
Hmm.
right? And also intentional about what is my next level of who I am. Because we can become very comfortable at where we're at and be like, we made it. And it's not that we aren't content with where we're at. No, that's amazing. Wow. But what if this is just like one little small sliver of what else there is to have? and really looking at that self concept of how do I keep introducing myself to a higher level of self concept of who I want to be at the end of the day.
Hmm.
One of our school's old principal, she read First Lady of the United States books the whole time that she was our principal. I think she was our principal for 8 years, maybe. I don't know. But I noticed that she would post on Facebook when she finished a book about a first lady. Now she's a director for I cannot remember quite what it is, but she's a director someplace. And I just look at her. She was literally putting money in her savings account through
Hmm.
reading those books and leveling up on who she wanted to be and how she directed herself and what's a first lady look like.
Hmm.
A first lady has to be a leader.
Right.
That's what it is. And I thought that was so impressive that she was creating a mindset of leadership that whole time outside of just being a principal.
That is pretty cool. That's a cool story. And yet we have to be doing that for ourselves and building our own confidence up in that sense. And that'll help us take those calculated risks, right, for business so that if things do fall apart, you have that safety net that's built mentally, and you probably need it financially too if you're building the business regardless. So it's kind of goes
Yeah.
hand in hand either way. You're going to have that nest egg backed up for your own confidence and for your own, your checking account there. So for sure. And,
Yeah.
yeah, and you said something earlier too that I wanted to, kind of touch on a little bit, with these mindsets that these women might be exposed to, are usually coming from places that are supposed to be supportive, and that would be probably family and home, and also you said church, and I've known and I've heard stories that church can be, a very welcoming place, and many times, but at times it can also be a very judgmental place, to where if you're not fitting in with the values and you aren't doing exactly as everybody else, it almost seems cult like that they shun you or shame you in church for doing these types of things. And that can mess with somebody's mindset, right?
Yeah, for sure. It can shut you down. It can make you feel like you need to know your place in society, right? And let's say you want to become a millionaire.
Hmm.
That's not like the conversation that they really want to have at church with women,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
If you're a man, maybe. I mean, I don't see why there would be a problem with men chasing money all the time. They get the green light, like, we want strong, hardworking men, correct? But when it comes to women in the church, they are to be housemakers and all of those things. And I had a friend who she went to a small church and the lady just really shut her down. And you have to be careful what people's intentions are. Of course, the church is not full of perfect people whatsoever, but you gotta look at where people's is at when they are directing you. Not
Absolutely.
everybody is given the same passion or dream as you. I believe God gives us all a passion and a dream to follow. And we can't wait on other people to, push us towards that. We have to choose to follow what God has for us, even when even people at church don't get on board with it. Because it's almost as if it's right back to the this or that mentality. It can't be both.
Yeah. That's a terrible way to be, that you can't have gray area for something that in that sense. And I was talking about doing a church podcast about people at church and who's there, and the types that go. So I've been going to church for a while, back in church, now in a non-denominational, but I grew up Catholic. And it seems like there's three types of people that you'll find there. It's the people that have been broken, and the people that truly believe, and they're really in it, and they know what's going on. They know about Jesus. They've come to Christ, and they're in there legitimately. And then there's the people that I think have kind of just gone through just go through the motions and have been doing it since they've been young, and that's what we do. We just go to church on Sunday, and then we stand there, we listen, and we leave, and they don't apply anything or anything like that, which is what it is. They just either need a purpose or an awakening of some sort. But then there's also the other group that I think would probably fall into almost a judgmental group, and that's the people that virtue signal a little bit about church, to where they act as if, oh, I go to church and I'm special about that, and they tell everyone about it, yet their actions outside are nothing Christ-like, and nothing of the values that their church teaches in a sense. But so those are the types of personalities I think you'll find. But it's really unfortunate that you'd go to a place like that, and they would be so ingrained in those traditional values that it can't be both. I agree with you. That's
Yeah.
unfortunate.
And it's really man's way versus God's way. No matter where we go, we're going to find humans who want to impose their values and what they feel should be done onto you. And that's just not sustainable, especially in entrepreneurship. So when you're starting a business, I say, get with people who have been where you've been at and really save talking about that for them, because you do not want to be told, well, you can't do this, all because somebody feels like you should be focusing more on some of the other responsibilities that they see women doing. But once again, that is something that I really help women with. And I always believe strongly that you can work at any time. There is no set time for when you can work on your business. If it's a passion, then you can work on it as late as you want. And I just really encourage people to not put themselves in a box of when is the right time to work on something. You can still honor your, husband or your family, or maybe you just live by yourself or you live with a roommate. You can still get all those things done and work on your business, right?
Hmm.
If we're reading a really great book and we're telling somebody at church about it, they usually don't tell you, well, do you really have the time for that?
Hmm.
No.
Exactly.
So just remember that it is all about not putting yourself in a box and really creating what you want in your life, because it's your life to live, it's no one else's. And at the end of the day, as long as you are honoring God, in my book, that's who I answer to. I'm not answering to them,
Right.
right?
Right. And that's exactly the way you got to take it. And I think it's a, I think it's a double-edged sword in a sense. I feel like potentially that life could have been, I don't know firsthand, but many people seem to think that it was a better lifestyle to have it where you only needed one income for the house. I'm not even going to say it's the man went out and the woman stayed home. I know that was the traditional role. I'm not going to even say that. But if you have children and you're married, I do believe that the best setup possible, which is very almost rare these days, is having a stay-at-home parent. That can be the woman or the man. I just feel like that's just a better way to go about everything. When two people are working and out of the house, it just becomes more chaotic and everyone's tired from work. We come home now, who's going to do this and that? Who's going to, they're arguing about chores and kid watching and free time and all of that. That all happens. But I don't know what the answer is, because right now the financial situation here in this country, you almost need a two-income household. So, if you don't, great. But I also do believe that it's beneficial for women and men to have some sort of career path in a sense, so that if something does go bad in their relationship, however that shakes out, that they have an out and they're not stuck. How many women prior to them hitting the workforce were stuck being beaten, abused, and everything in a relationship, and they didn't have the means to leave financially? We did see a big hike in the divorce rate through the 70s as the women did go into the workforce, and I believe the divorce rate went up. And I don't think that's a bad, like, oh, feminist type thing. I think it's actually women able to escape something that they weren't before. And here now, with the way that the economy is, and I know I'm going off on a tangent here a bit, but we're starting to maybe see the divorce rate lower in a sense, just because people can't seem to afford to live by themselves right now, because it's very difficult. But at the same time, long story short, it comes down to so many things. The world has changed a lot since the 50s, and it's just different these days, and we have to kind of let go of things. As much as we want to keep traditions and follow things, shit evolves, right? That's what it is.
Well, and I for sure want to pick up on, let's say a woman has been in the workforce and she worked her way, to the top, and then she has a child and she realized, well, for this long I was on this track, but now I'm married and I have a baby and I want to be at home with this baby. But she keeps burning out because she's trying to build her business and work in her business the same way she did when she was the CEO of a company. And that's where I come in and we work on calming your nervous system, because things are different when you have your own thing. It's not going to run the way this other business has. And so we really do some deep diving into calming the nervous system, so that way you can keep trying over and over and over again while dealing with motherhood, while dealing with a crying baby, while dealing with a messy house. You don't feel like doing anything around here right now. Life is life. Kids can be really hard on you sometimes, and getting in there and really helping women rewire their brain to have the experiences that they truly want to have. And maybe it's saying no to that friend that wants to come over and hang out with you. That way you can focus on your business, right? Maybe it's saying yes to the babysitter coming over and helping you and being okay with a babysitter being there when you have a 9-month old,
Hmm.
right? Those are all things that women can really struggle with being okay with.
Hmm.
So we deep dive into those core beliefs and values to make sure that you can do both.
Right.
I truly believe you can do both. And we want to be really careful with who you're putting in your corner around those thoughts.
I like that. Yeah, it's sort of like threading the needle. You just have to do what you can, incorporate both, do your best at both, cut away the extra stuff, and get help where you need it and where it's financially stable for you. So you keep your financial stability in order. Childcare can be out of this world. I'm sure there's people out there, they say it all the time that it's easier to just not work and stay home than pay for the childcare because it's a wash in some cases.
Yeah.
So it's I also think on the other end of things, I feel like there's a group of men or women, mostly women maybe, that will almost look down upon a woman that leaves her career to go be a mom. Like I don't agree with that at all. I don't think either or should be shamed. I don't think there is an either or, like you said, and it's frustrating. And even if we just exit this one part of this, I just think there's so much like labeling and placement putting in our society today, especially through like media and politics and everything. Everyone wants a label and an identity, and this like I identify as this and this and that. And I ain't just talking about the genders. I'm just saying everyone wants a little label about something, about where they land politically, where they land religiously, where they are in all kinds of aspects. We're obsessed with these labels when we just got to stop, because the generalizes, the more labels we do, the more confused we're going to get. And if we don't have enough, we're just going to start putting people into like buckets, and they're just going to be generalized, and we're fucked. We got to stop with the labeling. Jeez, sorry, I went off
We
there.
have we we have lots of labels and we like to live in our labels too. We enjoy the label.
Mm.
And that's where I go to the woman CEO who had her bank account was full, drove her car that she loved, and now she's had a baby and maybe her husband doesn't make the same amount of money that she was,
Hmm.
or just being on one income has drastically brought down their spending ability, right? And she's lost herself because now I'm like, I can't do what it was that I was doing before. I can't have that same lifestyle. And
Yeah.
then she realizes, oh, you know what? I really like this business idea. I really want to check this out. And then she might hear from somebody, oh, that's wash. Don't go down that road. It's oversaturated.
And you can't listen to people,
You
because
can't.
the problem with labels is that labels become an identity, right? Like that's
Yeah.
dangerous, and it's dangerous. It's not good. When labels become an identity, then you just gravitate towards whatever that label has to it. Take politics, for instance. You have a left and a right. I don't like to talk politics, but we're going to for a minute, and we're just going to high level it. But
Yeah.
like if you are say I identify with the left or I identify with the right, and this is what I do, so whatever those politicians on the left or the right say or do, you basically have to believe it, because you're identifying with the political side with that label. And if you don't, you get called a hypocrite by your own people. And that's just that groupthink mentality that's so dangerous, and you stop thinking for yourself. That's what the government wants. And I'm sorry to go to this, but this is why we have to think for ourselves. Stop listening to people. Do what works for just us, only us. If a woman wants to be a mother and work, do it. Who cares what they say? Who cares what the politics say? Who cares what your friends at church say? Who cares what your mother says? Just do it, right? Like,
Yes.
stop listening to all this and stop identifying with a label, because they're thinking for you. If you're going to go and identify with that label so hard, they will think for you, and you've lost your train of thought. Even if people are probably agreeing with shit they don't really agree with deep down, just because the label said it and they don't want to be ousted.
Yeah.
Do it on your own, right?
Well, it's propaganda. We're all living in propaganda. It's
Oh,
all the time. It's spoon fed to us. And it's very limiting and very distracting. And it messes with your nervous system. So when you
hmm.
have something messing with your nervous system, then that makes it hard to actually take action because your body's trying to process out what it just saw. We are seeing shootings on the news on a regular basis now. We are seeing so much that it comes into our marriages, it comes into our, the workplace, it comes into all these different places. And I have the people that are like, I don't even want to touch any of it because it's so toxic. But
Hmm.
you're always one person out from touching it.
Right, exactly. And then, they throw it at you if you want out, which I'm out. I don't care. I see it from the outside. I just observe it here and there. I don't scroll as much into it, but the people that are in it will tell you when you want out and you want to just calm. I'm out because I want to calm my nervous system, and I can't. I'm powerless to most of this. What am I going to do? Go on the internet and start yelling at people about shit? It's
Yeah.
over. I've done that. I've been there. I've been that person. I don't like that person, so I'm not that person anymore. I'm not perfect. Maybe I'll slip one day, but hey, whatever. But at the same time, my nervous system is chilled out, and you said it right. I mean, the amount of shitty news that we see throughout the day on these phones will fuck with your nervous system. It will destroy you, or your nervous system gets compromised, and then you're going to react that to your family, and it just keeps on carrying on. It's like this parasitic way that we have that's just being infiltrated into our brains. God Sod, another good book, is called The Parasitic Mind. I read a while back,
Okay.
just showing how this stuff just infiltrates to us, and we just keep on pushing it, and we're doing the bidding for these politicians. And I know we're way off base, but boy, you really just fired me up there a bit. But anyway.
Well, it's a mindset, and it makes me think of Dave Ramsey, and not to say that everybody agrees with everything Dave says, right?
Hmm.
But saying that he always says you have to live like the 1% so you can live like the 1% later or something like that. I don't know. He says something
Hmm.
along those lines. And that's what it is. When you're building a business, you have got to live in the 1%, in the different, in this area over here. That way you can live in that area on the other side. It's
Hmm.
true. It goes both ways. You have to, and it's just like what you're doing too. You've got to cut out the crap.
Hmm.
You've got to stay consistent. You've got to lock into the long run, right? It is choosing what's healthiest for your body, choosing the foods that are going to help you out each day the best, being conscious about what you're putting in your body. And at the beginning, it's really probably is crummy because you've got addictions and parasites and all those things living in your body. And you've got to stick with it. And that's where I come along and I help women stick with the commitments that they're choosing to make to themselves and a better future for themselves and their families, their businesses. But we got to get through the ick part first in order to get to the big part. And that's the part where people want to come around and celebrate with you.
Yeah, yeah.
Not to say all people are bad and that they don't
Mhm.
have your back no matter what. I
Right,
have wonderful friends who love on me and who encourage me during any time when I'm building things. But
right.
I'm just saying the end result is where you want to be, but you've got to be willing to do the hard work no matter what it is. A relationship, body, and your eating goals, right? Or mindset. You've got to do the ick work first in
Yep.
order to get to that place. And I help you regulate your nervous system while you're doing that and uncover what it truly is directing you in life to create what it is that you want to have.
Yeah, and you're right. Regulating that nervous system is a very important thing to do anything. Have a relationship, start a business, or whatever that is. I don't think you could function right without it. And
Yeah.
like you said, I know we were kind of creating the awareness of the person that will talk you out of it and all that. And then again, those aren't necessarily bad people. They're just conditioned differently, and they're reacting, and they don't know how to manage their ego and their emotions around it. And we all have an ego. It's not like saying they're egotistical. It's just we have this in us. It's just inherent. This is we just have that. So they're reacting to it. They don't mean, many of them don't. Some will, but you have to know. And some of those people will come as supportive, but truly aren't. But it doesn't matter. But the vast majority too can be very supportive people. So don't have to be skeptical of everybody. You'll be able to figure out who's got your back and who doesn't when things start to just fall into place, and you'll know. That's what I think. So good
Well,
stuff.
yeah, I feel like we covered quite a few things. One thing I also want to make sure that I put in there is that when you are on a journey of creating something new in your life, that you are staying true to yourself and that you're being authentically yourself. Don't let anybody ever dim your light or try to tell you that you need to do something else. If your heart is in it, that's where you should be headed. That is totally where you should be going. And don't not be yourself on the way. Don't try to go copy somebody else. just be yourself. Even you said to me one time, when I had sent you a video of what I wanted body goals wise to be, right? And you were like, no, just compare to yourself. We
Yeah,
need to work on comparing to just ourselves and being okay with who we are, whether we're winning or losing, becoming okay with that version of ourselves. And that can
right.
be really hard, especially
That's
at certain ages where
hmm
we feel like we should be places already that other people have managed to get to, but we don't know how they got there.
You're
We
right,
don't know
exactly.
at all.
It's fair.
Um,
It's fair. It's fair to use them
yeah,
as inspiration, whether they're doing something in business that you like. Use them as inspiration in fitness too. That doesn't mean, hey, you can go talk to these people and they might be very helpful to you, but their end result and how they got there might be a little bit different than what you're doing, and especially the body thing. That's really different because you have different genetics than that person that you're comparing yourself to. And the danger there, it's not that you can't make great progress by emulating what they're doing. You might. We go back to the realistic expectations. You have this person's body in your head, and that's what you're going to look like. And then your body is just is your own. It's your genetics. It's your thing, and you're going to look fantastic, but you're not going to look like that picture. And that's going to bother some people because that was the goal. And they've been looking at that picture of somebody else the whole time and they're not getting that certain little definition they've got. Well, that your genes don't really line up that way. Go find something else that you love about yourself and focus on that. And that's it. Same thing with business. You know, they might have all this success that you see on social media, but I don't know, they maybe did some illegal bullshit that you don't want to fucking do.
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
You
You
never
don't
know.
know. You really don't know. So staying in your own lane and focusing on yourself, it goes across the board for any category, really. It truly is about your mindset and who you want to be while doing it.
Mhm.
And just don't leave yourself. That's why I always say, do not leave yourself because you're what people want to have. People want more of you,
Mhm.
not a replica of somebody else, because then you're not even being authentic and people
Right.
can sense that.
Right. Just become the very best version of your own self. And that should be a freeing statement, in my opinion. It should be very freeing. Like I can just create this myself. I can mold myself into whatever it needs to be. So
Yeah.
good. Yeah, you said some great things. And then why don't you let me know, let everyone listening know, like if they are looking for a mindset coach, maybe they're looking to go into business for themselves, maybe they want to start something up. Where can they contact you? Where's the best place to contact you?
Yeah, you can send me a message on Instagram. My handle is Keyera Patrick, KeyeraPatrick.
Okay.
You can message me on there, follow along. If you have any questions about entrepreneurship or, what's it look like for me to make six figures? I currently work a 40-hour week and I have these things going on. How could I ever begin to do that? Let's have that conversation. Let's talk because I want to help you move towards the goals that my clients have had, which is being able to make a lot of money while working from home, but also being able to live life and deal with life's hiccups or life's challenges, whether you have depression, anxiety, any of those things. I'm here to help you. I'm here to help you with that. So
Very,
that's how
very
you can
good.
find me.
That's awesome. I'll put that down in the show notes as well. And if you need to contact me, any other ways to get in touch with Keyera, you can message me at MFS Wellness on Facebook and Instagram, and you can email me, Mike at mfswellness.com. So great conversation today, and thank you for being here, Keyera. And maybe we'll do something else together. We'll do another one. We have a lot of good conversation going here. So that you got everything here. If you need a mindset coach, you know where to go. So for Keyera, I'm Mike, and we'll talk to you on the next episode.